Abu. Life is easy with the EcoBank mobile app. You can pay your bills, transfer to and from mobile wallet, virtual card creation, transfer to other banks, express account opening, scan and pay, express cash, all at your fingertips with the EcoBank mobile app. You know, it's 5-star life with EcoBank. Can promise.
Our findings point to the need to ensure your employees so they go all out with confidence to contribute to growth. Sherry is our insurance consultant.
I highly recommend group employee insurance from Old Mutual, the best performing insurance partner in Africa, with 177 years of experience in delivering fulfilling employee benefits with speed of service and claims payment. Old Mutual employee insurance covers compensation for credit risks, permanent and temporary disability, loss of income in the event of death or disability, and medical costs.
Give them a call on 0307 000 600. Old Mutual. Do great things every day.
It's your Super Morning Show time for Food for Thought with Uncle Abel Whyte, who joins us. Is brought to us by Riverman Production. Be the difference. A very good morning to you, Uncle Abel. Hello, Uncle Abel.
Mavi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Good morning, and how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How has your week turned out to be?
Oh, good. Winston gave me a day off yesterday, so for the first time, I had a holiday.
Well, and I hope you made the best use of it.
Oh, yes, I did. It was
because I know there are some people who don't know how to rest.
Me, I can rest, but I can sleep the whole day.
All right, then you are not one of them.
Yeah, but how was your holiday?
Busy. Busy. We're preparing for our Q4 production, so.
Okay, hey, already.
Yes, already.
Nice.
Already, because it premieres in November.
Okay.
And so, for me, the Q4 is already on, and working hard to ensure that we are able to take the platform to a whole new level.
Great.
In November.
Right. We're counting now.
Mavi, on Monday, 19th September 2022, Queen Elizabeth II, the UK's longest reigning monarch, was laid to rest after state and private funeral services at Westminster Abbey and St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. I made as much time as possible to follow proceedings as they unfolded live on YouTube. From the moment her death was announced on 8th September, I have felt a sense of grief and celebration at the same time. At 96, the Queen's death could not be said to be unexpected, especially after her doctors issued a statement to say that they found her medical condition concerning. And yet, when she died, I felt the world had lost something, someone very precious. I felt like an era had come to an end. I still feel a huge void has been created by her death, and whether her successor, her son, King Charles III, will be able to fill it remains to be seen. I have been surprised that the death of the Queen has affected me so deeply. I did not think that I cared that much about her or about the British monarchy for that matter. As one born into colonial Gold Coast, I was raised to revere the Queen. I still remember her first visit to Ghana in 1961. I was in primary school then, and I remember that we were all given special marks with her image embossed on them to commemorate her visit. I took mine home and gave it to my mother, and we kept it for years on her dresser in her room. The next event that rekindled my interest in the British monarchy was the wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana on 29th July 1981 at the St. Paul's Cathedral in London. It was hailed as the wedding of the century, and I remember that it was one of the first international events that we got to watch live here in Ghana. I'm one of those for whom Lady Diana became the queen of our hearts, and when she died, I was devastated and told myself that I did not care about the British monarchy anymore. But I think I lied to myself. Deep down, I think I have remained fascinated by the British monarchy, and indeed, by everything British for years. And the Queen's death showed me just how much I loved and respected her, even when I thought I didn't. When her death was announced, I, like millions the world over, felt like I had lost a dear one, and I wanted to be part of the funeral in whatever way possible. And so I made time to watch all live events, from the service in St. Giles Cathedral through the flight to London and the trip from the airport to the Buckingham Palace, and from there to the Westminster Hall, where she was laid in state. And I continued to watch every day as 250,000 people filed past her coffin. And then on Monday, 19 September, I watched the full funeral and committal services, both in London and at Windsor. I also watched the accession of King Charles III to the throne. I have always been intrigued by the saying, "The king is dead, long live the king." And I got to see it in action, what it meant. The queen was dead, but the throne was never vacant, as King Charles III became his mother's successor. Now, I must confess that I am still surprised at how much loss I still feel at the death of Her Majesty the Queen. And I've been trying to explain it to myself and to make sense of it. Then I began to listen to the tributes from those who worked with her and who knew her, and it began to make sense to me. I realized that over the years, the Queen had come to represent to me what it means to serve selflessly. I know that some people will sneer when I say the Queen represented selfless service, but that is the legacy she has left the world. On her 21st birthday, the then Princess Elizabeth made a broadcast for the whole of the British Empire from South Africa, in which she said, quote, "I declare before you all that with my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service," end of quote. And at a burial service, the Archbishop of Canterbury made reference to this statement and said, quote, "Rarely has a promise been so well kept." The Archbishop went on to say, quote, "People of love and service are rare in any walk of life. Leaders of love and service are still even more rare. But in all cases, those who serve with love are remembered when those who cling to power and privileges are long forgotten." There were 6 golden threads or pillars to the Queen's life, and these were faith, service, duty, dignity, decency, and family. She sacrificed everything for these, and sometimes even took some criticism because she would not compromise on her sense of duty and service. Tracy Grimshaw, an Australian TV icon, flew to London to cover the Queen lying in state. She watched how thousands had suspended their lives just to queue for 24 hours, and even with their babies, and how much the Queen, even in death, had united people and called forth the best in people. And she said on camera, quote, "After all these years, she is still doing her duty," end of quote. And moved by the truth in what she had just been inspired to say, Tracy struggled to keep the tears away and to stay professional, but she failed. She couldn't. Duty. I wish we would be blessed in Ghana with leaders of whom everyone can say they are consumed by their sense of duty and service. Britain is great because they had a queen who would not sell Britain out for anything. Britain is great because they had a queen to whom 15 prime ministers held themselves accountable. Britain is great because they were blessed to have Queen Elizabeth II rule for 70 years. With many colonies in the British Empire becoming independent and republics, the Queen's magic is that she still managed to make herself relevant to every one of those former colonies. And she managed to stay our queen, even for those of us who became republics. How did she do that? Well, she lived a life of faith, of duty, of service, of decency, and she still managed to keep her family together and to make the rest of us her family as well. A number of people traveled from Canada to London, and on arrival, one of them was told that she would have to wait for over 12 hours in the queue. And she was asked what she thought of that. And she said, quote, "The Queen gave us 70 years. Giving her 12 hours is nothing," end of quote. The Archbishop of Canterbury said, quote, "The grief of this day, felt not only by the late Queen's family, but all around the nation, Commonwealth, and the world, arises from her abundant life and loving service, now gone from us," end of quote. Yes, Queen Elizabeth II gave us 70 years. To that, I say thank you, Your Majesty. And in the words of King Charles III, I end by saying, in loving and devoted memory, end of quote. Rest in peace, Your Majesty, and rise in glory. And Mavi, that's my presentation this morning.
Thank you very much, Uncle Abel Whyte, for today's Food for Thought. Today's Thursday, which means Uncle Abel Whyte is back on Monday, God willing.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
Okay. Uncle Abel, thank you so much for Food for Thought for today. Is brought to you by Roverman Production. Be the difference. Make sure you make a date, God willing, on Monday. We go for